I like to take my fingers and hold it from below while putting the back cap on. A lot of people do this different ways. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain. But basically you want to go ahead and take your back cap, place it on, make sure it snaps into place. Obviously you don't want to drop it like I did. And before putting these 4 screws back in, you want to hit the piston a couple times, make sure it works completely, because there's really nothing worse than having to completely reassemble this just because you forgot to cycle it once and maybe that spring came out. So you go ahead and replace your 4 screws. Here's our first one. Again, that Pathogen 14-inch barrel available from hustlepaintball.com. It's a little bit difficult to clean due to the porting. I was having some ball breaks again with this when I first got it, and that barrel was a little bit difficult to clean due to the porting. However, once the ball breaking issue got resolved, it's just a completely fantastic barrel that completely blew my expectations. It really did. I mean, when I was shooting out in the woods, I literally shot twice and the ball hit exactly the same spot. I put it into full auto and it was just a very constant stream, all hitting the same exact spot, like to the inch. It was absolutely crazy. The thing is just completely accurate. It's pretty damn silent too, and just overall a great performing barrel. Let's go ahead and get our 4th screw in there. Again, you don't want to over tighten these because reassembly will just be a complete hassle when you take it apart the next time. Again, make sure it cycles. And now we can replace our paddles. We want to take the smaller of the 2 paddles, and as you can see it's a cylindrical cut, but then one end is just completely flat. That means you can't put these paddles in the wrong way. So they can only go in one way. So don't worry about putting them in the wrong way. And just like this. And you're going to take your screw and again make sure that metal washer is around it. Drop it into that hole and tighten that down. Now we're not done with the cyclone maintenance just yet. We still have to look at the hose. The hose right here is held in place by the screw. Go ahead and unscrew that screw. And there's going to be a small black O-ring on the end of the screw. It could have fallen off when you're unscrewing it. It's right here. Very small piece, but very important piece. You definitely don't want to lose this. You want to make sure that there's no dirt, no paint on this screw and in this corresponding hole. Go ahead and slip that little black O-ring back over top of the screw. Again, very important piece. And place it back on the top and kind of do it finger tight just to get it placed on properly. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain as it is right now. It's on there. There we go. Finger tight. It's in place. Go ahead and make sure your hose is aligned towards the cyclone feed, like such, and then hold the end of it while tightening this screw, because the small part underneath here can swivel, and if you're tightening without holding it towards the cyclone feed, it can face the wrong direction, and then you won't be able to connect it to the flex valve, which is very bad. So everything in here is immaculate, clean, perfect. We can move on to the upper receiver. We're done with the cyclone. So here's the upper receiver. You want to start by removing the shroud, the front shroud. And the front shroud is held in place by 2 push pins. These things are just demonic. Sometimes they're a real pain to get out. They're very, very snug. You have one short one and one long one. The long one goes on bottom. As you can see the size difference here. Put those off to the side. The shroud will be removed. And you want to make sure inside here, as you can see, there's a small splotch of paint on this bent half right here. Just go ahead and take a paper towel, run it down under there, and paint's off. Make sure that everything is completely clean. If you see any paint inside of there, definitely want to make sure you remove that as well. And set the shroud off to the side next to the push pins. So, we can get to the lower receiver now. It's held together by 5 Allen screws. We'll start here at the top and just go ahead and remove those. These don't take very many turns to unscrew. Pretty fast. As I said, Tippmann, really outdid themselves. This gun is just fantastic, and it's pretty easy to maintain. You just need to lubricate it well after each day of play, and if you're actually trying to take it apart at the field, you'll probably be sitting out for a game, but that's better than sitting out for 2 games trying to reassemble a different gun. And of course, field stripping this is completely different than what we're doing right now. That would just give you access to the bolt. We're taking this apart to make sure that it's in perfectly clean condition, so we're definitely not going to have any interference with the way our paint shoots. Now that those are all loosened up, go ahead, turn it over, poke those out, smack them out, do whatever you want to do. 4, 5, there we go, 5 screws. Place those to the side, and make sure that the part with the Tippmann logo is facing up, and then pull straight up. And viola! The innards are right there. Here you have your barrel adapter, your ball detent, and this O-ring. Definitely want to make sure that this is completely clean. This is once more where the Q-tips come in handy to get in these small grooves. Make sure that there's no paint splotches, no big abundances of dirt. Especially want to make sure that O-ring and that ball detent are completely clean. If your ball detent has paint on it, well, each and every time you fire a paintball, it's going to get excess paint on it, and your paint's not going to go where you want it to go. So now that that's done, we can go ahead and replace our ball detent, replace this O-ring, and replace our barrel adapter. You want to make sure that just falls in there and will stay in place. Sometimes it can be a little bit confusing as well. There we go. Now that that's into place, you want to take the half with the spring, and the way we're going to put this back together is just by taking this, running that through the hole to the magazine release, and lowering it down, and the 2 halves come together.